Abdullah Al-Omar used to rub shoulders with some of the most powerful people in Syria, government ministers, foreign dignitaries, and even the Syrian president. For 5 years, Omar claims he worked in the presidential palace. His main job was propaganda.
I was a member of the press office in the presidential palace. We met to manufacture news and see how we could distribute and publish these lies. We invented stories that would help justify the crimes committed by the Syrian regime.
Omar says he was a member of a 15-person team working under longtime government spokeswoman Buthaina Shaban. When high-ranking officials like the former prime minister defected, Omar's job was to trash the defectors' reputations.
We contacted regime loyalists from Lebanon and Syria to appear as guests on Al Jazeera and Al Arabiya to say these defectors were bad and corrupt.
But now Omar is one of those defectors, and he's offering details, impossible for CNN to independently verify, about how the Syrian president has coped with the uprising.
How did Bashar al-Assad's behavior change over the last year and a half?
He seemed worried all day long. We rarely saw him smiling. He paced up and down the corridors and stared out the windows at Damascus, and he was always anxious and tense. One day I saw him kick a table, and he was cursing and swearing against the Syrian people.
Omar shows photos of himself with top Iranian officials, like the Iranian ambassadors to Damascus and Beirut.
Were the Iranians meeting with Bashar al-Assad frequently?
Almost daily, he tells me, 4 and 5 times a week. Omar says the biggest crisis came in July after a bombing killed this man, presidential security advisor Hassan Turkmani, as well as 3 other top security officials. He says the bombing also seriously wounded Assad's brother Maher, a military commander who hasn't been seen in public in months.
2 days after he returned from medical treatment in Russia, Maher al-Assad came to the presidential palace. He had lost his left leg in the bombing and also the use of his left arm.
Last month, Omar defected and fled to his hometown of Atarib in northern Syria, now a ghost town devastated by the civil war.
How did you feel when you saw the destruction in Atarib?
I swear, I cried when I entered Atarib and saw all the houses and shops abandoned and everything destroyed and burned. When I saw it with my own eyes, I cried and asked how could Bashar al-Assad do this. I want to apologize to the Syrian people because I worked for this butcher and killer regime.
A tearful apology, but his sincerity is questionable, especially when coming from a man who admits to spending years lying for the Syrian regime. Ivan Watson, CNN, Istanbul.